Well, Trump's America walks the talk by moving a bill that declares Pakistan a terror state. But back home here in India, very few MPs are backing the bill. Yes, a private member's bill was sought to be introduced by a member of the Rajya Sabha today. But there wasn't even a quorum. And you can look at those pictures. We're just going to show you the pictures of the Rajya Sabha. And the pictures tell the entire story. There wasn't even a quorum. There you can see the BJP MP, Dr. Subramanian Swamy, standing up. Deserted house. Look at those benches, completely empty. Yes, an important bill to declare Pakistan a terror state is introduced in the Rajya Sabha, the House of Elders. And the members are absent. Our braves put their lives on the line. Some sacrifice their lives to keep billions of Indians safe. But our netas reward them by bunking an important session called, in fact, to debate this bill. They didn't even have it in them, these 543 MPs, and of course 245 of the Rajya Sabha. Not even 30 of these MPs were present in the House to be there, to at least hear what this bill was about, to consider it perhaps, and in the interests of our braves and the hundreds and thousands and lakhs of innocents who have lost their life to cross-border terror, in their interest, to pass this bill, which would have declared Pakistan a terror state. The excuses are several on the part of the government. Some of them are glaring. Here, listen to an MP of the Bharatiya Janata Party who comes out and stridently defends the right of the MP in question to have introduced this bill, which was rejected by his own government. Listen in, Dr. Subramanian Swamy speaking.
The biggest patron of Pakistan today thinks there are people who are lawmakers there who think that is so. And with now Mr. Trump becoming president, it's just possible that they will all go in that direction. We are the ones who are the affected people. How many incidents have taken place? So what is the answer? Each time you can't say peace, peace, peace.
Well, that was the BJP's MP. Now listen to the MOS home, who's giving out the government point of view. And after that, Rajeev Chandrasekhar, the MP who has actually moved this private member's bill.
किसी देश की किसी भी तरह का निर्णय लिए जाने के पूर्व इसका अध्ययन किए जाने, उन्हें समझ दें और उसके लिए तैयारी भी किए जाने की आवश्यकता है। अंततः विधेयक का समर्थन नहीं किया जा सकता।
Pakistan would have heard today all the MPs in Rajya Sabha speak in almost one voice. Okay. While there may have been differences in how to approach the specific legalities of the bill, to a man today, there was absolute consensus in Parliament that Pakistan is a state sponsor of terror.
Well, there you go. It's so disappointing, isn't it? I'm joined by Rajeev Chandrasekhar, MP of the Rajya Sabha. Also with us, Dr. Dinesh Varshney, leader of the CPI, Maruf Raza, consulting editor of Times Now, as also Dr. Sunil Kumar of the JDU. Let me first begin with you, Rajeev Chandrasekhar. The government says we have diplomatic relations with Pakistan, not prudent to declare any nation a terror state. India is bound by international norms. Of course, Pakistan is not bound by any norms because they continue to violate the Geneva Conventions on a nightly basis, on a daily basis, on an hourly basis. But our government is rigidly upholding some imagined protocol, some imagined norm. Rajeev Chandrasekhar, explain why.
No, I mean, I can't explain why the government chooses through its Minister of State for Home to say what it does in Parliament. But I can surely say that I think the feelings amongst MPs, the few MPs that were present in Parliament today, were pretty clear. I mean, I think to an MP today, every MP confirmed that they believe that Pakistan is a state sponsor of terror. I quoted, letter and word and verse from Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee to Sushma Swaraj ji, all of whom have said that Pakistan is a sponsor of terror. So why the government said what it did in a manner that was less than stellar and less than spectacular, that only the minister in question can answer. But I am disappointed, of course, as you said in the
well, you said to a man
program,
there were hardly any MPs, man or woman. Very thin attendance. Isn't that just indicative of the apathy, the complete apathy?
Yes, absolutely. No, I think it is disappointing, Rahul, and this is the second day that this bill has been debated. The debate started, as you know, a few weeks ago in the previous budget session.
Yes.
And so this is the second part of it, and both those days the attendance was thin.
Dinesh Varshney, do our soldiers and do civilians who have been victimized, brutalized by Pakistan not deserve a fitting response? The US House of Representatives, the US Congress is considering this bill. It has been tabled today. All they need, and it's been tabled because they got 50,000 signatures, and it's perhaps going to be debated, discussed, and perhaps even passed. And we can't bring ourselves as politicians and netas to put Pakistan in the dock? Explain to me, Mr. Varshney.
You see, there is no doubt that Pakistan do support these terrorists, but at the same time we have to understand internationally who has given birth to these terrorists, whether it is in Pakistan or Afghanistan or ISIS or in Syria or in Iraq or wherever they are. Their master is the America. They wanted to sell their arms. None of the arms with whom these terrorists have is non-American arms or non-Israeli arms. So please try to end the international links. And
Mr. Varshney, do you live on this
our
planet?
Foreign policy should be
to
have a good friendship with our neighboring relations.
The last I checked, and I want to bring in Maruf Raza in on this. The last I checked, there are terror camps in Pakistan which are jihad factories. Maruf Raza, we know where these terrorists are coming from.
Yeah,
they are
but
cloned by the Americans in some lab on the east of the Potomac River. Excuse me, one second. One second. I want to bring in. I want to bring in Maruf Raza. Please.
The American
How can you even make these statements? I know that your political party supports the Azadi League on DU's campuses. For God's sake, sir, today defense establishments, families, the kin of victims, no, one second, the kin of victims of several people who have died at the hands of Pakistan-sponsored terror are listening to you.
We ask Azadi from war also. We want peace. We want peace.
Okay, 1 minute. Let me bring in Maruf Raza on this point. Maruf Raza.
And we are talking about peace. This is what Golmara also talked.
Of CPI, a party that should have actually stood up. And supported. Maruf Raza.
Rahul, since Rahul, two members of parliament have spoken, we've got two opposing points of view. Now, there is some merit in the argument that yes, the terrorists do use weapon systems that are made in the United States, but not so much in the United States. Actually, these terrorists use weapon systems that were originated in Russia, because the Kalashnikov model of weapons were designed by a gentleman called Kalashnikov in Russia, and they've become the favorite weapon of terrorists. In fact, the ISIS, which is a major terror group, has Kalashnikov in its logo, in its crest, in its symbol. But anyway, I think that's a related issue. The main issue is that doesn't absolve Pakistan of its terror agenda. It's very well known, it's recorded, it's even commented about by Pakistani writers who are at least honest enough to say so. Even Pakistani generals who have been involved with the establishment have subsequently come out. Most recently, General Durrani, former National Security Advisor, admitted that Pakistan soil is used by terrorist groups, though he has tried to evade responsibility as far as the military is concerned. The bigger question to me is two or three. One is that America, having decided now to move this bill, I think this is, see in reflection how we have fared with our parliamentarians. I am told not 30 parliamentarians were even present during the discussions related to the bill. And yes, Mr. Rajnath Singh, who is meant to be the chief of our anti-terror agenda, the Home Minister, Home Minister has gone on record to say that we need to have good international relations with our neighbors, so we cannot pass this bill. I mean, what ridiculous logic are we getting? This government is a divided house. And this government flip-flop policy has led to, by one account, 20,000 Indian citizens have been killed by past-sponsored terror since 1996
but I can tell you one thing,
figures quoted by Mr. Chandrasekhar.
It's a very important point.
But another account, the South Asia Terrorism Portal, Rahul, the South Asia Terrorism Portal says Pakistan-sponsored terror has taken 84,000 Indian lives. These members of parliament are meant to represent the people of India, if not the martyrs and their families. For heaven's sake,
absolutely,
present a united house. Pakistan's politicians stood united on 3rd October last year when they collectively declared India as the enemy of Pakistan after fearing that India might use leverage of the Sunil Kumar Singh against Pakistan.
Respond to Maruf Raza.
Divided on an issue like terrorism. Yeah. Do we want some MPs to die?
Are you scared of calling Pakistan a terror state? Do you not believe that Pakistan is a terror state? I'm asking you this question. Sunil Kumar, Dr. Sunil Kumar Singh.
Yeah, Rahul, let me tell you that terrorism these days has become a worldwide phenomena, and India is also suffering a lot from that. And most of the time it has been seen that it is a cross-border terrorism, and Pakistani soil are relentlessly being used for terrorism in India. But the government of India has a blow-hot, blow-cold policy towards Pakistan. They don't have a firm policy.
No, what about your party?
At one point of time, they let
when is your party going to take out? Then why wasn't your MP present there to argue against the government's position? I'm asking you, sir, why aren't you building coalitions? You built a Mahagathbandhan in Uttar Pradesh to stay in power. You can't build a big Mahagathbandhan in parliament to ensure the passage of this bill? I'm asking you, sir, in the interest of our soldiers. Politics matters more to you than the blood and the sacrifice of our soldiers. Where's the Mahagathbandhan there? Build the Mahagathbandhan. Pressure the government.
Against all kind of terror.
Rahul.
JDU is totally against terror, and if the Pakistani soil is being used, which has been proved beyond doubt,
don't talk on don't talk, sir. Don't talk on television channels. Act. Maruf Raza wants to come in on this point. I want to bring in Rajeev Chandrasekhar. If they're all so against, terror, then why aren't they taking a position against terror? Maruf Raza.
India has a flip-flop policy towards Pakistan. At one point of time, government of India says.
What about you? Your senior leader went knocking on the doors of a separatist, sir. Have you forgotten 3 months ago who was in the valley? Whose doors were you knocking? Sayyid Ali Shah Gilani, who renounces India, who says that for him Pakistan is the only country that matters and that he's a Pakistani. No, why is that a different story? How is that not betrayal, sir, of our braves? I'm asking you this question. Don't tell me about, sir, standing in judgment of various other political parties when your political party acts with such inconsistency. I just want to bring in Maruf Raza on this, please. If you were clear, sir, you wouldn't have been knocking on the doors of a traitor. That's very simply put. 1 second, Maruf Raza.
Look, Rahul, the Kashmiris are very much Indian.
May I just remind all the political
have to taken into account before achieving the peace accord.
Sir, please. Sir, let us not equate Mr. Gilani with other ordinary Kashmiris. There are good Kashmiris, but Mr. Gilani has repeatedly proved that he is quite clearly against a united India and doesn't regard himself as an Indian citizen. But that's a separate debate. I think what we need to understand, it is not just about martyrs that our heart goes out to. It is to innocent victims of terror, the innocent families, all that. You see, please understand that terrorism is a tool that is used by states to influence another state to fall in line with their agenda. Pakistan-sponsored terrorism is precisely about that. The second point which I wish to make, that we have been as a nation always been punching below our weight. The world doesn't take us seriously because the issues that which we hold dear as citizens are not projected correctly by our leaders. While the citizens in India, you take a vote across this country, how many people think that there is a future of a good relationship with Pakistan? And I tell you, the majority of the vote will go in favor of those who feel that Pakistan offers no hope to Indians. And I'm telling you, I can say that with my hand on heart. But what do we get at the end of the day? Even a party that claims to be strong on terror will be pussyfooting around. You have Mr. Rajnath Singh now saying we need to maintain relations with Pakistan. What are you getting with relations with Pakistan? We need to maintain relations with Saeed Ali Shah Gilani. What have you got with Saeed Ali Shah Gilani? Well, we need to maintain relations with China. What have you got with China? They are all sponsoring the breakup of India. At least our politicians should stand united. That is the least we expect from us as citizens. We expect from our leadership.
Let me bring him in.
You can't do that. Somebody else is not going to fight your war for you.
Maruf Raza has put it so well, Rajeev Chandrasekhar. He's put it so well this evening. And I just want to ask you, Rajeev Chandrasekhar, to tell me, sir, how many MPs were actually standing around you when you introduced that bill? Point one. Point two, which political parties did they belong to? I want to ask you, sir. I'm very, very curious to know.
No, you know, Rahul, of course, let me answer those questions, and then I want to say a few things as well. I think the bill, if you know, was introduced in December. It came up for debate in January, February, early February for the first round of debate, and the debate continued today. The debate continued and ended today with the government's response. So the MPs that participated in these debates included 2 from the Congress. There was 1 from YSR Congress.